All right, welcome back to Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. I'm your host, Herc. As always, I appreciate you guys' support. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. Follow us on TikTok under the same handle. Become be on the podcast, whether virtually or in person. Just shoot me an email to mindoveremotions, the podcast at gmail.com or send me a text, which is more, you get a faster response to 702 525 6118. All right, I'm super excited for today's episode. I got this young lady that's going to come on in here in a second. So you guys let me know at the end in the comments what you guys think about her episode. All right. Do me a favor. Introduce yourself, name, age, where you from, and if you have any kids and relationship status.
My name is Sarita. I am 37 years old from Colorado. I have three kids and I am divorced.
Divorced. Okay.
Yeah.
Where you from? Colorado? You said
I'm a Colorado native. Yeah.
you've been there your whole life.
My whole life.
What part of Colorado?
Originally from Pueblo, but currently reside in Colorado Springs.
Okay. How's it? How was it growing up in Pueblo?
It was interesting. Very, very small town.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Did,
But
did you did you grow up with your mom and dad in the house together?
I did not. I grew up with my mom. She was a single mom growing up. My lifestyle upbringing was at one point I grew up having everything. At one point I also grew up not having everything. So the dynamics I was able to understand a lot growing up.
Okay. And how was it just living with your mom? Did you have
I
siblings?
loved it. I loved it.
Okay. Did you have siblings?
Yep, my brother.
Okay.
Yep, an older brother. So
Okay. How was it like your relationship with your brother?
my relationship's really good. So I was normal sibling relationship and everything like that. But it's kind of like I was the little big sister growing up. So
Oh, so he's the older brother.
he's the older brother, but I'm the more responsible one.
Oh, I love that. That's how how it usually goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
So tell me about your mom.
Well, my mom was a business owner growing up. So she was able to do it by herself, provide for everything. She made sure that I always had a relationship with my dad's side of the family. My dad was kind of just doing his own thing. But till this day, I still have a decent relationship with him. It's just a little bit different. He's, more of a friend, versus that father figure. But my mom's always been a hard worker. So it's kind of like I saw my grandfather doing it growing up. She was really close with him, with her dad. And so then I also saw my mom being a hard worker, and I think I took on that.
Okay. Did you play sports or anything in school?
Just dance and cheerleading.
Okay.
So,
Which one did you like more?
both, honestly. I mean, the cheerleading part, I did about 7 years of that. So, it was pretty fun, very competitive, all of that. Never did, I guess, actual sports, but yeah. So,
Well, was it like competitive cheerleading or just like cheerleading for the school?
yep, cheerleading for the school, but we did do a lot of competitions.
Okay, well
So,
then it's a sport.
yeah, it is a sport.
Okay. How was school for you?
It was really good, honestly. Like I said, I grew up with at one point having everything, to another point not having everything. That was a little challenging because when my mom kind of lost everything, I was in middle school.
Okay.
Um, so my mom struggled quite a bit, but I also saw a lot. I learned a lot, and so it kind of pushed me. And despite her being a single mom and struggling, she was still able to provide. She was able to do, cheerleading, all the costs of that, make sure that I was going to my lessons, everything. I don't know how she did it, honestly. So,
When you say that you lost everything, what do you mean?
my mom was grieving over her dad passing away. My
Oh,
grandfather. Yeah. And so she ended up just losing everything, because she became like an alcoholic almost. And so one moment changed our whole life.
what was the moment?
She was drinking and driving.
Uh,
Yeah.
and did she just get like a DUI?
Yep, she did. But she built herself up. Like I said, I don't know how she did it, but she did it. She did it. I know that my mom has a lot of siblings. So our family is pretty close when it comes to that. They're very close. And so at that point, she leaned on to her mom, my grandma.
Okay.
So
Now, you said you were how old when this happened?
between about 10 years old, my grandfather passed away when I was 9, about 10 years old when all of that happened.
Okay. And from your point of view, like, how did you perceive everything that was going on? Like, how did you perceive it, and like, how did it affect you?
At the time, you're very young, you don't understand like actually what goes into all of it. Now that I'm older, I just feel like my mom was grieving, you know. Grieving it shows differently for a lot of people, and my mom was just she was just grieving. And one little moment, changed everything. But I think for me, seeing my mom's strength and her just overcoming all of it has allowed me, into even my current situation, where I'm at today. So it's molded me.
Okay. When you were in school, what did you perceive your life to look like outside of high school?
I mean, I wanted to be an attorney. That didn't happen. But I think that I've been pretty successful,
Okay.
honestly. So
What kind of attorney did you think you wanted to be?
a defense attorney.
And what derailed that though?
I'm sorry.
What derailed that? Like, what made you not pursue that anymore?
I mean, I ended up just having kids of my own, and that's when those sacrifices came and what was in the best interest of my family at the time and my kids.
Okay. And you own a business now, right?
Yep.
What kind of business do you own?
Like a childcare program, an early childhood.
Like you like babysitting?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So it's like a daycare center.
It's like a daycare, but it's within the state. And I am contracted with different corporations, I guess affiliations you can say. So I kind of dabble in a lot of training. I work with a lot of people. I network for the most part.
Okay. Like to open a business like that and get contracted, like what's the steps like to start that?
Clean background check is one. You also have to get the property zoned. You have to have training done. You have to be CPR certified, medication administration, and those are continuous trainings. And then you also have to continue training, ongoing training throughout the year,
Okay.
every year.
I have a question because actually, I didn't even know that you did that. I seen that you were a business owner, but I didn't know what it was. Um, I've been seeing like some videos lately, like on TikTok, um, of like these daycare centers and stuff like that where kids were like being like abused. Like I seen one where there was, and I don't want to say no names, obviously, but I think he was like smothered or something like that because he was just acting out. I think he like might have been like special needs maybe too. But they like smothered him and then they just left him there. And you're as somebody who owns a business like that, right? What do you think? What do you think went wrong? Like, how do you think?
I mean, so I have worked, and I am certified. I do have my director certification as an option. It was something that I voluntarily did. But when I read those stories, whether it is a center, unlicensed, I think poor training. I think there's a lot of people, the turnover is very, very high for staff in a center. And so I feel like the training isn't fully there. Me, for example, I have so much training and I'm always getting educated. I'm always staying up with the news. But like when you have a kid, for example, they make you watch a video on SIDS before your child is released, from before you can leave. As parents, you need to watch this video, right? Or shaking baby syndrome, I'm sorry. And so you're supposed to do that and they educate you. But when someone loses their cool, something like that is bound to happen in situations like that. Because I'm always reading all those things. I feel like there's just a lot of um, people that are going in there and they might not be fully educated.
Hmm. Okay. I was just curious because, like I said, I didn't know that you did that for a living, and then, like I said, I've been seeing those videos, and it's just always like kind of like mind blowing to me. Like how could you get a career in a field like that, and then you act like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Never has. Um, where obviously you love kids because you have kids, and then you decide to be a permanent babysitter.
And
Um,
I want one more at least, but we'll see what God has in store for me.
okay. You say you're 37
37.
and you want one more. Okay. Most
My
people
youngest,
go
my
ahead.
youngest is 2 and my oldest is almost 17.
Okay. Yeah, my oldest is 19 and my youngest is 8 months. Yeah, and there's like two at the top, 19 and 17, and then two at the bottom. One will be two on July 4th, and then the other one, like I said, is 8 months. So, um, was kids always in your like something you always wanted?
Yep,
Okay.
always.
All right.
Always. I grew up with my mom at one point was did childcare licensed. So I grew up with that. I also have three relatives that have also been licensed or are licensed actually. So it's something that I grew up. I know the dynamics. I know how to operate it. You don't get no breaks. I'll just say that. It's parenthood, but a job. So, you have your parenthood and then you as a parent and then you have to divert, like change it, I guess, and you have your business side as a professional. So,
All right. Now, let me ask you this, because like I said, you are a mom and then you also do work, in that childcare field. How do you, because like I've interviewed moms before and they say like they have to, it's mandatory, like take an hour for their day, for themselves. And that's just watching their own kids. How do you protect your mental health while working with kids all day and then going to have to go home, be in mommy mode and deal with your, or not deal with, but, raise your children?
so a few years back, my life took a huge turn. When that took a turn, reality just really woke me up. And I realized that self-care is not selfish. Self-care is essential. It's a need. So how I learned to take care of myself without feeling guilty, because that's what most of us mothers do, is I set fitness as my foundation. So.
Okay. And how long have you been doing fitness?
Actively, consistently since I got pregnant. I started when I got pregnant with my youngest, so um, May of 2023.
Okay. I saw you were NASM certified.
I also got my personal trainers during 2024. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what led to you doing that?
So, as mentioned, I used to think that self-care was selfish, and then I changed that whole mindset, realizing that it wasn't. It was needed. I did the whole pregnancy by myself with my other two kids. At that point, and I was going into the gym until I was about 5 months pregnant. And when I started getting really tired, I said, you know what? I want to learn more about myself because the body is amazing. I was learning things that I didn't know I was able to do. And so it led me to being educated on personal training, without realizing that I would actually have more of a passion for it than what I have.
Okay. So have you ever had clients?
One client. So
Okay. Yeah, I actually am certified too. Well, actually, I got certified ACSM first, and then got certified with NASM, and then I coached powerlifting and all that.
very
Um,
cool.
I didn't want to do that career anymore though, because I started feeling too much more like a therapist.
Yeah.
I felt like a therapist. I felt like a babysitter, and it was taken away from me. So I was like, I can't do it anymore. Now let me ask you another question. As a woman, right? A woman, a mom, a business owner, all those things, right? Uh, how do you like I said, asked you before, the same thing though, just in general, like what do you actually do? I knew that was gonna happen. What do you actually do for your self-care?
I go to the nail salon. Yep, I go to the nail salon, hair salon. I read a lot of books. Um, so I like to do my downtime with listening to music. As a mom and me loving kids and I love my kids. They're not a burden to me. So when I get them all together, and like I said, my oldest is a teenager, my other one is almost 14, then I have my 2-year-old. When I can get them all together, it's, let's get some takeout and sit down and just talk, just have our conversations. And all three of them have different personalities. So as a mother, I love that. I'm a foodie, so I like to go try new foods out and I like to eat. I like to cook. My self-care is obviously in the gym, and I try to hit that as much as I can. Life is very busy, so I'm either hitting the 4 a.m. session or I'm hitting the 8 p.m. session. It just depends on my schedule that day.
Oh, dang. You're better than me. I can't I thought for a second actually I thought you said you did 2 a days. I was about to say I couldn't do it. I know two a
No.
days. No, no. Have you ever done a 2 a day?
Yes, I have.
How did that go for you?
Um, Sometimes I go for my mental health. So it's not always I'm going to go in there and make sure I'm being consistent. Sometimes I'm going to clear my mind. Like I said, it's the foundation. It's what keeps me grounded. It's what keeps me going. If I honestly didn't have the gym, I mean, I who knows what I would be doing. So
Do you have any other hobbies outside of the gym?
I go to concerts. I like to travel, hang out with the girlfriends, all that stuff. So.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna get to the other part of the podcast now where we talk about mental health. First question I got for you is describe mental health in 3 words.
Peace, grounded, life changing.
Okay. And what do those words mean to you personally?
Peace, your mental health is your number one thing that you need to take care of on top of your physical. Being grounded, like I told you, without the gym, I don't know what I would be doing. Um, Life changing, because it changes you not only mentally, but physically.
Right.
So,
Not in a world where like it's not peace, right? I'm big on peace as well. I've talked about it on my podcast so many times about how important like my peace and I consider like my house to be like my peaceful place, right? I don't let people disturb that peace. How do you protect your peace? Like, how do you actively protect it?
by realizing that a lot of times when people do certain things or there's stuff going on, one, it's not, if you don't have control of it, you just don't have control over it. Two, sometimes it's not a you problem, it's a their problem, right? And then three, with you not being able to control all of that, um, you choose on how you react, how you respond.
Okay. Um, and then like for being grounded, like describe to me like how do you go about like because you said what did you say for being grounded again? What was it again?
Um,
How it pertains to you?
yeah,
No, what was it that you said?
I don't even remember.
I know I was like, hold on, I was jumbling them up. I think you said you go to the gym to stay grounded, right?
Yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I said I wouldn't know what I would be doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's just take the gym out of it, right? Because sometimes the gym closes, right?
Yep.
Sometimes you can't go to the gym. Sometimes life happens, right? How in your own home amongst your kids and stuff like that, how do you guys like as a family like address like mental health? How do you guys, like open the conversation about it?
I remind them that this is a safe place, that even if there's something that I might not want to hear or I might not like, that it's okay for them to choose what they are feeling and to voice it out. I think that they themselves have had times where they've weren't able to speak up, and I feel like anyone should be able to speak up, respectfully as much as possible, but setting those boundaries by being able to have that open floor.
All right. Have you ever dealt with like mental health yourself?
Yep.
Like suicide? Have you hold on, like what kind of mental health?
No suicide. Just my divorce was um, it was very, very traumatic. Waking up from what I had went through, it took a lot. And so I had my girls and myself, of course, my mom, my family, God, close friends and stuff, but it was like I didn't understand what was going on. So my divorce was just very hard.
Is your divorce finalized?
Yep, it's been finalized. Thank God.
I knew you were gonna smile. I already knew it was coming. Everybody smiles. What do you think about people who have divorce parties?
I mean, one of my girlfriends got me a divorce cake, so I was pretty excited about it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. A lot of people don't understand, unless you've experienced those situations, what leads to divorce. So,
Well, in your opinion, what leads to divorce?
infidelity, um, financial strain, abuse.
Hmm.
Abuse is a big one. Kids, all of it, the whole nine yards.
They say people that have been divorced that they can't give you marital advice, right? That's what they say, but I think differently. I think that people who are divorced have a lot of insight. because you know what's wrong, right? A lot of times when people are living together, they're married, they're just kind of like cohabiting. They're not really actually, like doing the whole relationship thing. They're just comfortable.
That's
Uh,
what ends up happening. Yeah.
in your opinion, and I'm not talking about you like anecdotally, like I'm saying like in general, besides infidelity, because everybody always says that. What do you think the biggest cause for divorce is? Like, for those like people who've been married for like 10 years.
Honestly, it's that 80/20 rule. The 80/20 is that person might fulfill everything, but that 20%, right? That might be something that you're yearning for, or he or she might be yearning for, and instead of watering what's in there and looking to fulfill that, because I don't know if anyone could ever fulfill that 100%, right? And be genuinely happy in today's society. They venture out.
Mm.
So even if it's not infidelity, they venture out to find that.
Do you think that physical infidelity is worse than emotional?
Nope,
You think emotional is worse?
I do.
Why is that? I mean, you're the
Because
first
that's
person
how
who's
it
ever
starts.
agreed with me.
That's how it starts.
What do you mean?
I think that intellectual conversations, vulnerable conversations, that intimacy with another person, I think it's more personable, I guess, than physical, honestly. The physical you can get anywhere, right? But
Yeah.
if you're having a deep conversation with one person, that one person, you're always going to be connected to them in that emotional way.
Mm. Are you saying like having these conversations like on a regular, or are you just saying like having like one? I'm guessing you're saying regular.
Regular, because it builds up after time, right? If you're
Yeah.
gonna, it's like that dopamine that people, that happy feeling, like it becomes like an addiction. You talk to this one person, you're like, wow, I really like their personality. Oh my gosh, like we see things a similar way. You want more of it, and then you're gonna want more of it and crave it. With physical, you can get that anywhere.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I feel like I said, I think you have like a lot of insight. Because, do you think that in a relationship you can have a best friend that's the opposite sex?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do.
I, you know, I agree. I do agree. It's just crazy because no one ever agrees with you on that. They usually say no, quick to say no. And then you talk about it and they're like, okay, well, maybe. But usually they jump to the gun and they say no. And I just feel like that you can, if the trust was there before the relationship.
I also think that like people, you just have that intuition, that instinct. You just know when something's off, you
But
know?
yeah, not everybody though. Not everybody, because that's why you have to remind them like they're not good for you. But all right, so I was just having a good conversation with you about that because that's you know relationships are very important. I do another type of episode of this podcast where I think I might have told you about it. I'm not sure, but basically we talk about men and women dynamics in relationships because I feel like most people, one, in relationships they don't talk. Um, they're usually scared or maybe of conflict. I don't know, but they're scared to open up, maybe because of like how they think the other person's going to take it. And then I think that also too, like people just don't understand each other. Like they don't talk to understand, they talk to defend. That makes sense?
Completely. Yeah.
And so basically I just have people come on and we just talk about different topics. We get it from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective from multiple different people. That's it. Um, but I just felt like you had a pretty cool perspective on that.
Thank you.
Um, So when did mental health become aware to you? Like, when did you become aware about mental health? Like what age or how?
So, I've always been, I don't know, growing up, it was spoken on, when bullying took place in school and my upbringing and stuff like that. But it really wasn't until I ended up having kids myself that I realized, or even, and then me working in the field that I work in and realizing that this is a serious problem. Then, having a partner at the time, who battled with a lot of mental health issues and me trying to be there to help this person. That's when I realized like it's men's mental health is a huge thing. But then once I got divorced and my life changed, I realized that what about my mental health? My mental health matters too.
Yeah. Um, everybody's does first off, but
Yep.
what do you feel like is your biggest stressor?
Um, just toxic, anything toxic, really.
What's toxic to you though?
High conflict.
Mm. So you don't like any kind of like conflict or well, you don't like a lot of conflict.
I think because I experienced so much of it for so long that now if there is a problem, which I thought even back then when there was a problem, you should be able to address it because if not, it builds up and then that's how resentment occurs. So I feel like if it's too extreme, like I don't even want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Do you feel like you'll ever get married again?
Yes.
Why? Well, I appreciate the thought on it, so you don't just say a random answer, but what made you have to think so long?
The fact that my marriage was horrible. It really was. It's the saying of walking on eggshells, but I wasn't walking on eggshells. I was living on it. And so now that I'm out of it, I'm like, okay, completely, I don't want no chaos. I don't want no drama. I don't want none of it. The peace that I have now, I fought to have. And so if I was to get married again, I don't want to be, against it because we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve that. And I wouldn't want to punish the next person for my past.
Okay. Now, how do you? Because a lot of people say like you gotta take time to yourself and get over it, right? How do you like grieve your marriage, so to speak, or and how do you like get yourself ready to move on? And how will you know when you're ready?
I am ready to move on. I'm just enjoying my freedom, I'll be honest. The single
Okay.
life is great, so it's peaceful. But I think it just takes time. It took me a lot of time. It took a lot of crying. It is a grieving. It is, through therapy, I learned that it's grieving. And so there's no timeline on when someone will heal. PTSD, do I get flashbacks? Do I have these moments of where I want to, think back? Absolutely. But my healing, it's going up, not down.
Okay. So you're in therapy?
I was in therapy. I did over a year and a half of it.
Okay. Was it for the stuff you went through with your in your marriage?
Yep.
What's the biggest takeaway from therapy that you have?
You can't control what you can't control. You can only control what you do. You can only control you.
Yeah. You filed for the divorce?
Yes, I did.
Okay. There's people out there that's it's sometimes when you say stuff, it just kind of makes me laugh because it makes me think of like these other things I've heard. And it made me think, and all about these relationships, right? This guy said, I was watching this podcast once, and I don't want to quote the podcast, but basically he said that women leave men, men don't leave women, and that's why um, women could never like run the world or something like that. He said because they're quick to leave anytime there's conflict. And I say that I feel like there's no substance to that because most women in relationships that I've seen, they stick around. Unfortunately, us men are the one who leave. And we might not physically leave, but we leave emotionally, mentally, yeah. And then that just causes the woman to feel alone, and then she leaves. That's just the truth. Um,
I mean, that would be like me saying, I built a man for another woman, you know?
why do women say that?
I mean, the facts are there, but yeah,
Um, are you in contact with your husband at all?
no, only on court approved, like a court approved app.
Okay. Now, this is totally up to you if you want to do it, but usually I ask this to people. If in a perfect world, let's just say he was watching this podcast, uh, was it if there was one thing you could say to him, what would it be?
I'm praying for you.
Ooh, I like it. Nothing negative. I like it. I
No,
love it. Are you in the church?
Yep.
Okay. May I ask which church?
A non-denominational one.
Okay. I grew up in a non-denominational one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you
Yeah.
like that? Is that
I
what you've
love
always
it.
been? You've always been in that?
No, no. I actually grew up in a Christian church and a Catholic church, mostly
Okay.
Catholic growing up. And so I was actually baptized Christian and baptized Catholic.
Okay. Um, how do you use Christianity or religion, I guess you could say, uh, to help you with your mental health? How do you use it?
It's my daily word. It's what you need to live. I mean, you follow the Lord, you follow his words and that's what's right.
I- Is mental health talked about within the church? I
It
don't go
is.
to church. Okay.
Yep. Yep, it
Um,
really is.
do they provide any kind of like services or anything like that?
The church I go to provides mental health services. They have men's group, women's group, marriages, divorce, singles, addictions, resources, all of it.
Okay. Um, have you ever dealt with like any kind of like kids who have mental health issues?
I have.
Oh, don't you deal with really young kids?
I mean, my own kids.
Oh,
My
I was
my
meaning
own
at
kids.
at your job. But when dealing with mental health with your kids, do you find that it's much harder to deal with mental health with youth than it is with adults?
No.
No?
No, I think that as mentioned before, like everyone's healing it shows up differently at different times. Same with mental health. So regardless of the age, it just depends on what they're going through, what they're processing, how they're handling it, what you can do to support them and help them cope to heal, you know.
Have you ever dealt with somebody who had like was suicidal? Have you?
I have
How was that experience for you?
traumatic, because they're a ticking time bomb. You don't know what's going on. After going through therapy and educating myself more and more, you're not gonna speak when you're going to do something. So I've just seen a lot of different behaviors. But it's a very stressful situation when you see someone having suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. So I lost my niece, which is the one of the reasons why I started this podcast, and then
Sorry.
one of my ex's daughter, which was like my daughter as well. Um, I think looking back on that situation though, for myself, I think that I never really had those questions of what could I've done differently or like why, because I always talked to her and had conversations with her, so I kind of knew when it happened. I didn't know she was suicidal, um, but when it happened, I kind of like instantly knew, just like it's unfortunate, But I guess what happened was she went to therapy before because she was suicidal. I guess she was searching some stuff about that or whatever, but I just dealing with somebody who has suicide, right? Has suicidal ideation. Sorry, I can't think right now. Dealing with somebody who has suicidal ideations, like what's like your first thing that you do and you addressing it?
Say that one more time.
I said when dealing with somebody who's going through like some suicidal like ideations or anything, what's like your first steps, like or your first thing that you do when you approach the situation?
How can I support this person? You know, it's it's hard to pinpoint the first, second, or third step when it comes to something like that. But I think educating yourself, watching behaviors, patterns, and I'm sorry about your daughter. Um, but yeah, I think patterns, educating yourself. And honestly, if I'm being very transparent with you, I just think that society hasn't been fully educated until recently on mental health. I
I
think it
feel
has, but I feel like there's an increase now because they're seeing so much occurring.
See, because I kind of feel where you're coming from, but when it comes to like today, but I also feel like people are using mental health as like a fad almost, and it's kind of like really sad. But I feel like the world today, I feel like you're right. They're not educated. They're not even educated on how to deal with it within themselves. They're not educated on how to deal with like their friends who's dealing with it. They don't even tell like they're like if I was talking to some kids once, right? And I was like, well, what would you do if your friend told you that they wanted to commit suicide? I said, they was like, well, I don't know. I was like, you wouldn't tell their parents? It was like, no. They literally told me that they felt like there would be a snitch if they went and told.
Yeah,
And so
it's
I'm just
devastating.
like, we're so worried about like educating on like the wrong things. Like all these kids, a lot of these kids are like, I feel like that's why they're acting out. You know, you hear all these stories. I think that's one of the reasons why is because no one's even talking to them.
Yeah,
You-
I agree with you 100%. I feel like if they were educated and being taught that it is okay, that it's not weird, that they go to staff and stuff like that, that it would be okay. But also it also depends on what's going on in the inside of the home. What is the family dynamics occurring too? But I feel like everyone should be educated on it. I feel like people in high school, these kids should be taught how to change a tire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's just one of those things, and I think that having kids, that's where we as parents need to really step in and educate them. What can you do for your self-care, your mental health? What does self-care look like for you? And then teach them. And that's what I'm doing to my kids.
yeah. I heard you earlier say that you said something about being bullied. Um, the world that we grew up in, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're around the same age. The world that we grew up in, we had a lot of like stressors. We had a lot of, like we had bullies, um, and then like obviously like the want to fit in and all that kind of stuff. But what we didn't have was we didn't have all these like direct connect, like cell phones, social media, and all that stuff. So I think that's why growing up we didn't really hear about kids being so depressed and all that. Now, with you having kids who are growing up in this era, like how do you kind of like intervene and control it and like just be there for them for it?
I encourage them to seek their own kind of therapy, whether it's having their own therapist, seeking what is healthy friends, not healthy friends. Um, yourself, like your self-care matters. And so I tell my kids, um, do one thing that matters to your mental health.
Mm.
And don't let me or anyone else take that from you. I don't care if it's cooking and messing up my kitchen. I don't care if it's a sport, and it has to be healthy. But one thing that you can do for you that no one can take away.
See, I agree with you. That's how I am with bowling. Right? Because for me, originally the gym was like kind of like how it was for you, but then once I started competing and getting clients and all that kind of stuff, it kind of became more like a job.
Right.
And so then I picked up bowling, and now that's how I am. Like I'm gonna bowl every week. There's some times where I might say like I ain't gonna go, but that's very. I think I've been doing it for like 4 years now, and I've probably missed maybe less than you can count on two hands, probably.
Yeah, because I'm sure what if you the weeks that you miss or the days that you miss, you feel just like a little off, like something just
So
doesn't sit right.
heavy. I
Yeah,
feel heavy
yeah.
because what I do is soon as I go in the bowling alley, anything that's stressing me out or somebody's pissing me off, I just like change my mood as soon as I go in the gym. I mean, not the gym, the bowling alley, and then I'm in such a good spirits that I don't. When I get back in my car, I don't just get back in my car and then start thinking about all the other stuff. I keep that same light foot, uh,
Yep.
and so it just kind of like decompresses me for the week. I used to go on Fridays, but now my work schedule don't allow that unless I want to have no sleep. um, when it when it comes to finding your next boyfriend, she's like,
I
no.
knew that was going to be brought up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's three non-negotiables for you
Non-negotiables. Um,
besides
laziness.
high conflict?
Laziness.
Okay.
I want to see someone that has some ambition, some goals for themselves, I want to be a woman that fits into a man's world, so to speak. So I don't want someone to come in as like in an audition. I want someone to just come to me as they are, and I want to see what that dynamic is. But a non-negotiable is the laziness. Anything unhealthy as far as alcohol, drugs, and all of that. I don't want that lifestyle anymore. I mean, social drinking, occasional drinking, but sloppy craziness, drinking and driving, I don't want no part in it.
What if he smokes weed?
I mean, it's I can't control that part, right? But someone that is very neglectful on that kind of stuff, I just don't want.
Mm.
Um, a non-negotiable is someone that la a man that lacks faith. So what I want for the next relationship is a man that is a God-fearing man that leads with God. So
Now, does he have to be the same religion as you?
no, no.
Interesting. How do you foresee that that would go?
I mean, it's just like when you start, living with someone else, you just learn. I mean, we're all brought up in different upbringings, right? Different households, we're all different races, all of that. So, if two people are coming together, you just somehow compromise. So
Okay. I was gonna ask because, like, for instance, let's just say you're Christian, right? And you get with a man who might be like, like Muslim or something like that. Um, I
we're
don't
going to both churches.
You'd go to a Muslim church?
Why not?
Or is it like they call it synagogues? Is it called a synagogue? What's it called?
I, you're
I don't know.
asking the wrong person.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. Um, so the three non-negotiables were no
Laziness,
laziness, um, has to be God-fearing, of, and then what was the third one?
like a lot of alcohol,
Oh yeah, no
all
drug,
that.
no drugs,
Yeah.
no marijuana.
Yeah, no, none of that.
Why those three?
Um, my religion was kind of shrunken, I guess. So I kind of lost my way um, over the years, and I've always had a very, very close relationship with God growing up. And so that's a huge non-negotiable. I'm in the church now. I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? I sin, yes, I do. But at the same time, I'm teaching my kids and my life is going with God first. So every morning I wake up, I read, I follow something, and I always plan to lead with something from the Bible every day.
Okay.
Uh, and so that's huge for me. Laziness. Um,
Well, hold on, before you go to that one, what do you mean by it was shrunken?
um, anytime I wanted to go to church, it was like I didn't have time. There was no time for it, or there was more important things than church. Or it felt like it was a burden to someone else, and I don't ever want to feel that again because, you know, it's my life. It's what we lead with, or people that believe. And I want a man who's going to lead me to lead like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then the laziness, why is that? I have a
I'm
question.
not supporting a man. Absolutely not. If I'm bringing in my bread, we have to have a good balance. I feel like someone that doesn't have ambitions and they're like, oh, I'm gonna, do something to get the easy way out. I'm not cutting corners. We're not cutting corners. I feel like if I'm gonna work hard, and mind you, I work over 55 hours a week. I'm in the gym. I make time for my kids. I make time for church. If I'm doing all of this, there's no excuse. So I don't care like what you're doing and how much you're making, honestly. But if you have some goal to get up and moving, you know, check off my honey-do list, fine by all means, but no laziness.
You're gonna find you a religious drug dealer. No, I'm joking.
Absolutely not.
That would that would be crazy. Somebody watching this would be like, I sell drugs, but I go to church. I
I
don't
mean,
do
to
that.
each their own. You got to make
Yeah,
money, but that is not
of
part of
course,
my thing.
of course, of course. And then the third one.
Alcohol was heavy in my marriage.
Mm,
Now that I'm out of it, I didn't realize how much pressure alcohol was, or the access of it. And I'm guilty for it myself, where there was a lot of drinking. And I don't want to be around any of that. Like I said, social drinking, occasional drinking, great, all of that. But when it becomes unhealthy, and you're jeopardizing yourself, someone else's lives, other people's lives, like it's just absolutely not.
and we kind of like jumped around a little bit, but I want to know, um, how long were you married?
13 years.
During that 13 years, um, how was like your mental health? Like, how was your mindset? Once you
I
what?
lost myself. I
Mm.
lost all my wants, all my needs trying to be a people pleaser, trying to please someone else and make someone else happy. So It was never what I wanted. And that's kind of where I keep saying, self-care isn't selfish.
Yeah.
So
So I'm just saying, like, how would you describe like your mental health, like your mindset, like how you were mentally throughout your marriage?
I was I was broken.
Mm,
Um, and I'm sorry if I get choked up.
you're fine.
Um, I felt like I was just surviving. Like if I was in a pool and I'm just like trying to catch air, trying to stay above water. But I was broken. I felt like a robot, like a puppet. So,
And your kids obviously went through the same thing. How did they handle? How are they handling it now?
um, they're doing great. They're doing great. They are old enough to identify what has happened. I got them in therapy as well. Do I encourage them relationship? Absolutely. But to an extent, that's kind of where I can't force them if they have their own voices. And like I said, you girls can say whatever you want to me. You kids can tell me whatever you want. If I don't like it, I get it, but you deserve to have a safe place to be heard, and your voice matters.
Yeah.
So, but it's was very, very challenging, not only after what they've experienced, let alone a divorce and two households splitting. It was just a lot for them. So.
Do you feel like you experienced throughout your marriage? Do you feel like you experienced like majority of it was like emotional abuse?
No,
No?
I dealt with every part of abuse that there is.
Well, first I want to say I'm sorry you dealt with that. Um, what would you say is like the one that affects you the most though?
The last one, the last physical one,
Oh, so the physical violence
the,
was the worst?
the last one, the last assault was the one that I finally reported. And the reason why it was so traumatic was because my baby, the youngest one, was 8 days old. Yeah.
Mm,
So
I'm sorry we went through that, but you're here. Because God got a purpose for you. Uh,
absolutely.
now let me ask you this: somebody who's in a situation that's similar to you, right? Well, where you were, in a marriage that's like unhappy, that's abusive on all fronts. Um, what kind of advice would you give to them?
So the hardest part about something like that is that they themselves have to choose when to leave, right? Or when to make that change or when to stand up for themselves. Um, the only thing I can do is support them. But what I would do and what I have done, I am in two volunteer groups, one nationwide and one locally, is I encourage them to educate themselves on behaviors, on things to watch for as far as gaslighting, manipulation, what healthy boundaries look like, healthy relationships look like. Because I can't tell someone what I have felt. I can't tell them what to do or feel. We all take it in different ways. All I can do is educate them and give them the resources so they can educate themselves.
Hmm. When you say educate, what do you mean?
Give them books, podcasts, encourage them to go to therapy.
But what I'm saying is like educate themselves on like what topics?
On what they're experiencing and why they're experiencing it.
Oh, like so like the mind state of the partner that they're with.
But also like what they're feeling and why they're feeling. So like let's say someone came to me and they're like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and they're not happy and I'm doing this and what do I do? And they're just sitting there drowning like I described earlier. Well, I'm going to tell them, well, hold on, calm down. um, why are you people pleasing? Or let's go find something on what you're feeling and see what we can go from there and try to navigate them into resources as far as books from doctors and psychologists and therapists and people that have experienced it, someone that has a professional, clinical title.
Yeah. The last question I'm going to ask you about your marriage, I promise.
Okay.
I know you're probably like, I don't want to talk about this. But I just want to know the way that it started and then the way that it ended. How long into the marriage did it take for it to like start going down that downward slope? And then the last one was, I know that what caused you to go ahead and finally make the decision, but before that, was it like a fear of leaving, or was it just like you didn't know if you actually really wanted to leave?
So let's go. I'll go back to like what you were saying. So the abuse occurred before I even got married.
Mm,
Um, but when you're being manipulated and things are taking place, you're just trying to make this person happy because um it's the honeymoon phase, right? We got married very, very fast. The relationship was very, very fast. Uh, I was previously married and he was previously married, and he was divorcing, claiming that there was infidelity. And so, had I known what I know now, that wasn't the case. That wasn't fully the truth. Um, I forgot the last part you were asking me. I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
I was asking you about before you when you left, what got you, before you left, was it because you didn't leave before? Was it because you were scared or you didn't know that you were gonna leave?
So I tried leaving about three times. I printed out the divorce papers. I did try. I was basically put in a situation where I felt like it was my life or their life. And if I chose to leave, I was placed in a situation where you're not going to have anything. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself, basically. And so I just felt cornered until I threw in the towel and I said, I don't care what happens. Their peace, the kids' peace, and my peace, my safety, their safety is all that I care about. So,
Okay. Well, I'm glad you made the decision to leave. To people who's watching this, right, who might be going through something today, and they tuned into this episode to find some encouragement, some inspiration, um, what would you tell them?
we live in a very, very big world. Don't shrink for anyone. And
Mm,
that you deserve is one thing that you should take each step of your day with.
okay. Um, what made you want to come and be on a podcast today?
I was actually looking at your page and I realized that it did boil down on like it had does have different topics, right? The mental health was a big one. I think that, like I said earlier, it's not spoken on enough, and I feel like, if you gave me that opportunity, why not be a voice to be heard so other people might, be able to be inspired by it maybe.
Okay.
I just feel like society needs it. A lot of people tend to keep their mouths shut, and why not just be open?
Okay. What two events that happened in life, one negative and one positive, what are the two events that shaped you the most?
The divorce,
Mm, okay.
um, life after divorce, seeing my kids happy.
Okay. Okay. All right. And I got one more question for you. All right. You ready? These questions that the people give me to ask you. It says, if you had the attention, oh, we're not doing this one. No. Someone keeps putting that one there. I know, I'm not doing it. So basically, and I'll say this live on here because I don't know if people who are watching might know. So basically, what happens is, and I'm gonna have you do it too. Basically, each guest gives me a fun question, and then when we're doing the virtual episodes, I pull it for you. But if you're here in person, you get to draw your own question out, and yeah, this is a fun question. So what's a recent win for you, big or small?
Recent win,
Mhm.
reuniting with all of my girlfriends from college.
Mm. What did you go to school for again?
Our early childhood is one, but also my minor is accounting.
Okay. What did you think about the podcast?
I think it was great.
Would you ever come back?
Absolutely.
Would you recommend it to somebody?
Absolutely.
Um, the last question I have for you is, when it comes to mental health, right? And I know I'm backtracking because I want to ask this question before I forgot about it, and I'm going to ask now. When it comes to mental health, what do you think the biggest thing that the world needs to do to be better?
To take time to focus inwards versus outwards.
Mm, okay. All right. Now I'm gonna put you on the hot seat. You ready?
Okay.
All right. So this is the part of the episode where I get to be the guest and you get to be the interviewer. I like
Okay.
to ask me like one or two questions that you want to know about me. Shoot.
Why do you have a nose piercing? What made you get that?
Oh, this is gonna be great. Why did I get a nose ring? I don't know. I think maybe to be totally honest, I'm gonna be totally honest, because no one's never asked me this. I don't know why I got a nose ring. I thought maybe I might like it. I had tried the lip, and then I think God said no because I had it for 4 hours, and that was it. Um, but the nose, I don't know. Now, if I take it out, I feel like super naked. You
Yeah.
know, but why is it
I,
ugly?
I had to ask because I got mine done only because my daughter wanted hers done at a young age. And she's like, Mom, will you get it with me? And I'm like, sure, I'll do it with you. Now my other daughter wants one. So
We gotta get the other side done.
I'm not doing all that.
You got another question?
Um, yes, you said that you were into fitness, and now you're taking it as a job. Are you still training or do you have any competitions coming up? Are you
No.
active?
So training wise, I stopped training people one on one because, like I said earlier, I feel like it made me feel like a therapist or and a babysitter. I didn't like it chasing people around. So then I ventured into coaching powerlifters, which was cool. It was actually good. I did have a couple bad experiences, but I mean that comes with the territory. You're gonna have it. Um, And then I just where I'm at in life right now is just my life is so hectic. I mean, trying to do this podcast, trying to work, spend time with the family. Something now it's summertime, it's just a lot. I got a lot going on, a lot. So I just said, last year I was like, that was it. So when my last client, when he decided that he didn't want to do coaching no more, I just never promoted it again. So
Gotcha.
as for competitions, you asked about a competition. Um, I have to compete. I have to compete soon. So, but I have none in sight. I haven't. I just got back. Well, this is only my second week back powerlifting.
Oof.
Yeah. I had a lot of health issues. I have Graves' disease. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah. So that had attacked me earlier this year, where I gained like 50 pounds. I wasn't really in the gym like that. So I'm back 2 weeks in. Numbers wise, everything is going good, but just like overall, just like endurance and stuff like that. No, I, I got a lot of work to do. I could probably
Gotcha.
I could probably go do a competition and do well right now because there's only one rep. You only got to do one rep of it. Uh,
Yeah.
but and then plus, I just don't. I'm not. I wouldn't show up to a competition look like this.
Well, good luck. I think you'll be fine.
Okay, I appreciate it. No more questions.
No more questions.
All right. Would you come? You said you would come back and be on the podcast.
Absolutely.
All right, so everybody who's watching this, go ahead and drop down there if you guys think should come back and be on the podcast. And look, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. Um, I am so sorry that you went through the things you went through in your marriage,
Okay.
but it made you stronger. You're still here, and hopefully, somebody who's watching this, your story helps them, and they feel encouraged and inspired. If you guys are watching this, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Mind Over Emotions the podcast. Follow us on TikTok under the same handle. If you want to come be on the podcast, either virtually or in person, shoot me an email to mindoveremotionsthepodcast at gmail.com. Or you can send me a text message to area code 702-525-6118. We out of here. Peace.